nation. Hebrew kingdom building.
You cut the fan off if need be. Yeah, you got it. So, let's recap. Let's go over some of the things we've been learning. Anyway. Not everybody at the same time. Oh, go ahead, Coach. Altars. What about the altars?
Cleansing our altars, understanding what fuel is, and not using it as a crutch.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Elder.
Knowing that you that altar, that you summon Yahuwah.
God. Coaches, you're right.
Don't mistake dropping your wood for healing.
Hallelujah. God. Hima.
Confession is not repentance.
Confession ain't repentance. Boy, y'all don't get none. Y'all better get that. Just because you confess don't mean you repent. Repent. Say repent. Repent. Go to. That's right. Hallelujah. Cut off the pillars. Woo, that's it. What's the two pillars? Who I am and who I want to be. Elder.
Knock down your pillars of pride.
Knock down your pillars of pride. Obadiah.
Circumcision of the heart.
Circumcision of the heart. What's the heart? The altar. Go ahead, baby. You gotta speak up. Can't hear you, baby.
What you're burning up on your evil altars pride.
What you burning, right? That's the fire. Hallelujah.
Last time, the ashes go outside the city.
The ashes go outside the city. God. Go ahead, King. Don't build your altar of wood and stubble. Ooh. Allowing the people who hurt you to be priests in your temple. Amen.
Our altar can only be filled with either gold or silver.
Well, gold, that's all. Oh, she get into the lesson. They gold and silver. But remember, go ahead, man.
The evil altars are putting people who love you. That's it.
That's right. That's right. They are what's fueling your fire. But you allow those who hurt you to become the priests in your temple.
But then you commit murder.
Man, that lesson last week was powerful. Hallelujah. All right, so we're going to go forward. Today, how do I sound? I got an echo.
Because you do.
Check. Now, I muted all the drum lines. Check.
I think it's the one in the corner over there.
Yeah, I think it's this one over there. That one told. Check. You might want to turn that back that way. This one. Go ahead and say this one. Check. Hallelujah. That sounds good.
That's better.
That's dope.
Way better.
Man, I just came up here and just hit a button. You functioning out there. He just walked away. He's like, don't worry, I got it. Click. Told I elder. So, check.
And it just did it again.
I just heard it
It's that
again.
speaker.
Is that you?
I think that speaker is up too loud.
Is that drum hit?
You want me to go back? You want me to go back?
It sounds like it's that drum.
Yeah.
Check. Hallelujah. That should be good. Check.
Speak loud. Boom.
Hallelujah.
A little bit, but not much.
Hallelujah.
It's the drum too, so I guess we'll have to deal with it.
Yes, it's the drum. All right. So, today, we are going to cover the title, Vessels for Your Master's Use. Subtopic, Whose temple are you in? Whose temple are you in? Whose temple are you in? Because we all vessels, God. But some are vessels of honor, and some for what? Dishonor. You have vessels for honor in your home. You have vessels for dishonor in your home. A vessel of honor you have is a bowl that you eat cereal out of. A vessel of dishonor is a toilet bowl of where the cereal goes after you eat it out the bowl. Hallelujah. But there's vessels of honor and there are vessels of dishonor. Even though it's a vessel of dishonor, it still operates in its function as dishonor. Because that's what it was built for. You have to ask yourself, everybody in here, if you who wills, are supposed to be vessels of what? Honor. That's what we say. You who correcting me right now, even as I go home. That's what we say. But the Bible said in every house, there's vessels of honor and dishonor. So there is a vessel of dishonor in there, we just don't know who it is. Oh boy. I know y'all be calling me, am I a vessel of dishonor? Because I don't know. Stop. Because they probably ain't got here yet, but they'll be here. I pray they ain't here yet, and I pray they coming later and then we will figure it out. Hallelujah. But his vessels of honor, his vessels of dishonor. Even the vessels of dishonor still operate in their function for dishonor. But the real question is not so much if you're a vessel of honor or dishonor. Well, let's assume everybody's a vessel of honor. The question you gotta ask yourself is, whose temple are you in? Because you could be a vessel of honor in the wrong temple. We're going to prove that to the scripture. But you got to ask yourself, yeah, I may be a vessel of honor. Yeah, I got it all together, but whose temple are you in? Because it's not just so much of being a vessel of honor. You got to make sure you are in the right temple. Hallelujah. Let's build. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 20 through 21. Read. 2 Timothy chapter 2. Starting at verse 20, we go to 21. When you didn't say hallelujah. Hallelujah. Go to whenever you're ready.
Now in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay.
So in a great house. Is this not a great house?
Yes, it is.
There are vessels of gold and silver and wood and clay. Go ahead.
Some for honorable use, some for dishonorable. Therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he will be a vessel for honorable use, set apart as holy, useful to the master of the house, ready for every good work.
So we see it is a vessel of what? Honor and dishonor. What vessel are you? And at the same time, it's asking too, it's saying that this vessel of dishonor, he can do something to change. He can do something to change. Let's get, it's not up here, let's get Romans 9. It's on there. Okay. You want, let's go to the next slide. Hallelujah. So, you want to read that for me, Coach? Hold up.
Romans chapter 9.
Romans chapter 9, 17 through 23. We're gonna start at 17, but we're gonna get some context and understand what Yahuwah is saying. Okay, from the 17th to the 23rd verse.
For the scripture says to Pharaoh, "For this very purpose I have raised you up, that I might show my power in you, and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth. So then he has mercy on whomever he wills, and he hardens whomever he wills. You will say to me then, why does he still find fault? For who can resist his will? But who are you, oh man, to answer back to Elua? Well, what is molded says to its molder, why have you made me like this?
Pay attention.
Has the potter no right over the clay, to make out of the same lump one vessel for honorable use?"
Hold on. Did y'all hear what she said? Read that, what you just read about the same what? Lump. Read verse. Is that 21? Read 21 again, sis.
So, why have you made me like this? Has the potter no right over the clay, to make out the same lump one vessel for honorable use, and another for dishonorable use?
So the person is asking, why have you made me like this? But Yahuwah made a vessel of honor and dishonor out of what? Out of one lump. So he didn't take a lump and make a vessel of honor, and then he went to another lump and made a vessel of dishonor. This two vessels came from this one lump. I want y'all to say loud on that. Okay? Because I had a misconception of this scripture. But we're going to break it down and get understanding. But keep reading, sis.
What if Elua, desiring to show his wrath and to make known his power, has endured with much patience vessels of wrath, prepared for destruction, in order to make known the riches of his glory for vessels of mercy, which he has prepared?
Hold on, my fault. So we're going to go back again. Is it 22? Slow down for me, sis. Let me get it. Go ahead.
What if Elua, desiring to show his wrath and to make known his power, has endured with much patience vessels of wrath prepared for destruction?
Okay, so it says, what if? More always say this. If is the what? Biggest little word in the scripture. So Yahuwah is saying, what if I desire to show my wrath and to make known my power? But he's also saying, I have endured and showed much patience with this vessel of wrath. Are y'all hearing it? This vessel of wrath has an opportunity to be cleansed and turned to a vessel of honor. Because he said, if I desire. So we have an opportunity, if we are vessels of dishonor, to be cleansed. What 2 Timothy was saying, to become honor. But at the same time, it's a flip side too. So let's keep reading. 23.
In order to make known the riches of his glory for vessels of mercy, which he has prepared beforehand for glory.
Hallelujah. So he's already prepared some who are fashioned to be honorable. But you can become what? You can become dishonorable by taking on these things of this other God, being put in another temple, allowing things to affect us and being put in another temple. So I want us to recognize that when we read this scripture, I used to think that a person, hey, they were just made as a vessel of destruction. Hey, that was it. But Yahuwah said that was if he desired that. But he said through long suffering and patience. So he's trying to show this vessel of dishonor, man, I've been with you long suffering, patient. I've shown you the right way. I've shown you righteousness. But you know what? Since you don't want to change, he showed Pharaoh. Pharaoh initially didn't want to change, so he hardened his heart. So he hardened his heart to where he became a vessel of destruction. We got that? Hallelujah. That's what I wanted to bring out with that 2 Timothy. So let's go back and recap 2 Timothy more, so we get some understanding. So 2 Timothy 2:20-21 says, now in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay, some for honorable use, some for dishonorable use. Therefore, if anyone, because the scripture says the Most High is desirous to save what? All, right? To the truth, right? So his desire is not for that vessel of dishonor to fall, but it's up to that vessel to recognize and see the long suffering and patience that the Most High has shown this person. But then he becomes stiff-necked and he becomes a reprobate, and the Most High gives him up to his own delusions or his own desires. Now he's going to make him that vessel of wrath. Wow. So it says, for honorable use and some for dishonorable use. Therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he will be a vessel for honorable use, set apart as holy, useful to the master of the house, ready for every good work. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. So we just read Romans 9:17-23. We can go to the next one. All right. This reproach, I'm going to let Akira break this down. We already kind of lambacked on the circumcision and, well, I don't want to get it.
So real quick, I just want to now back to in 2 Timothy. It says, useful to the master's house, useful to the master of the house, ready for every good work. So that you're not just being a vessel in the house, you have to be useful, right? In order for the master to use you, first you got to know who our master is. We know who our master is, right? So we got to be made out of a certain thing in order for our master to use us, because for our master to use us means our master is what? He's touching us. He's touching us, right? And we don't want to be touched by all that power if we not a conduit of energy. If we can't maintain energy, we not gold or silver, a conductor of power, a conductor of energy, a conductor of electricity. We cannot handle that touch. That's why you can only be gold and silver in the temple. You can only be gold and silver, ready for a good work, for the master's use. Are we ready for the master to use us? Can the master use us? Can he use us for a good work? Not being used how you want to be used. That ain't what we're talking about. Not being used how you want to be used. You ain't gonna get ahead. Let's go to reproach. Reproach, remember, comes from the root word harap. It means, it goes back to the word betroth. And we got this out of Joshua chapter 5 when he said he circumcised them and he rolled away the reproach of who?
Israel.
He rolled away the reproach of what?
Oh, Mitzrayim.
He rolled away the reproach of what?
The shame from being.
He rolled away the reproach of Egypt.
Yeah, Mitzrayim.
You got to know this because that's your freedom. He rolled away the reproach of Egypt. He rolled away the betrothal of Egypt. Because that's who we were married to. Right?
Right.
We were married to Babylon, right? So we're talking about cleansing ourselves, becoming clean vessels. We're talking about rededicating our altars. We have to go through a divorce. We have to go through a divorce. But here's the thing, some of us struggle to go through that divorce. You know that we are a bride. You know that man abused you. You know that man take advantage of you. But you still stay with that man. Because he got money. Because you got an American dream. Because you lust after this man. You want everything this man got to offer. But you know you're not supposed to be with this man. You've already been introduced to the man at the well.
All right.
Y'all know you're the woman at the well, right? So you've already been introduced to the man at the well. You know that's where you're supposed to be. You not only have to divorce this man has to, according to Torah, die. So that you can be betrothed to who you're supposed to be betrothed to. This man has to die. But some of us, it's hard to let go. I'm not going to get into it, but if y'all keep it up with self-destruct, right now they're talking about God.
Yes, they are.
That's your latest husband.
Yes. The truth is out.
You got the divorce. And not just divorce. After you burn that house down, after you divorce, I've been with God for 400 years. How many ways do I have like him? I've been intimate with God. How many deposits do God have in me?
That's right.
Let me bring something out now. And some of us divorce Babylon or God, but you want to collect the alimony. You still want the benefits though. You still want the money. You still want the glamour. Wait, what was that? What is it? Gaudy. You still want the gaudiness. We gotta let it all. We gotta forsake it all. Because the husband at the well, he's simple. He ain't flashy. He ain't got none of that. Y'all ever watched the movie? I think it was Car Wash. What happened to fall in love to the man with a bus pass? But see, y'all looking at the hour. I was wrong for that. Okay. But I'm trying to get some understanding. He said, ain't shit. So, what I was getting at though, the alimony. We divorced, but we still want those things that he doesn't get. We gotta let all of it go in his pocket. Because all you doing, you divorced, but you still got the same wood on your altar. It's time to switch all that up when we divorce. All right? Hallelujah.
Let me add a little bit to that. Well, like Eric said, you know, when you're intimate, he deposits in you, right? We got that language. You understand what we're talking about, right? But we know how this thing works. When that happens, you know, it just don't go away.
That's right.
It's DNA that's been in there.
It goes into your bones.
It goes into your bone. It comes some of that figure, that male trait is passed on.
Yep.
You take on each other's yoke. So you gotta examine yourself. What yokes or what traits that I really take on. That marriage, like I said, you're being used as a vessel. The word said, you know, my issue, her body is not her own, right? It's for her dish. It's a vessel ready to be used. I want y'all to understand that. You have another master. We had another master. And we took on traits of that master. We took on ways on that master. We was in that master's temple. But you was in another temple. I don't want to get ahead. So I really want y'all to examine that. Go to
Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 1, verses, I think it's 11 through 14.
Now, while you're getting that, remember, you have been reapproached. You have been circumcised, right?
First Maccabees chapter 1, we're going to read verses 11 through 15. Hallelujah, when you get First Maccabees chapter 1, verses 11 through 15. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
First Maccabees, that is in the Apocrypha. Okay?
That's a book they took out of your
Yeah, it's the book that took out of your Bible. If you have the original 1611, they have it. Or if you have the Sefer Bible, they have it. It's First Maccabees chapter 1, verses 11 through 15.
You want me to put it in the chat?
Yes, hold on. Good go. All right. Verse 11 reads, In those days went there out of Yasharal wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
All right. Let that resonate. Read it one more time.
God. In those days went out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen. Control.
Marriage.
With the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. And made themselves, listen to this, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
Uncircumcised themselves. I really can't imagine that.
do that.
But we do that. We did that. That's us. They uncircumcised themselves.
So understanding that when they left the heathen, what that sound like? When we left Egypt, man, we ain't getting them melons, and man, we ain't getting this. Man, we want to go back. They wanted to go back. And it was so bad at this point in the Maccabees, they were willing to uncircumcise themselves.
Vessels of honor went back to vessels of dishonor. They went back to their old marriage because it wasn't out of them. It was not out of them.
Next slide, Mark. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, 9 through 19. We've been dealing with this throughout these lessons. For we are Eloh's fellow workers. Who are the we? Hallelujah. You are Eloh's field, Yahuwah's building, according to the grace of the Lord given to me. Like a skilled master builder, I laid a foundation, and someone else is building upon it. Let each one take care how he builds upon it. Watch what you put in your altar. For no one can lay a foundation other than which is laid, which is who? Yahushua HaMashiach. Now, if anyone builds on this foundation with what? Gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, or straw, each one's work will become manifest, for that day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by what? Fire. Who is the fire? Yahushua. He coming with that fire to reveal the what? The hearts or the altars of men. All right. One's work will be manifest, for the day will disclose it, because it will be revealed by fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. If the work that anyone has built on the foundation survives, he will receive a reward. If anyone's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, though he himself will be saved, but only as through the fire. So every knee gonna bow to that fire. Prayerfully, your work is not stubble and straw and clay. Hallelujah. Do you not know that you are the temples of the Lord and that Yahuwah's spirit dwells in you? If anyone destroys Yahuwah's temple, Yahuwah will destroy him. For Yahuwah's temple is Kodesh, or holy, and you are the temple. Let no one deceive himself. If anyone among you thinks that he is wise in this age, this age, this age, this age, this age, let him become a fool that he may become wise. For the wisdom of this world is folly. And I'm going to say that with God. For it is written, he catches the wise in their craftiness. We still coming in here not showing reverence to Yahuwah. We still acting in Yoreh and not Shekah. You just scared to go to hell. You don't really reverence him. The order has been placed. You read the banner. The banner is a guideline to coming in here. How many of us are blind?
But I still read it.
And she's, and I bet people now read it better than any of us. I want y'all here. And that was humorous. But that's spiritual too. Because she does read it. And we still come in here and take Yahuwah's mercy and grace for granted. So again, I'm going to ask you, what kind of vessel are you? Do you not know that your works are going to be shown by fire? So that means you don't believe Yahuwah is a consuming fire. You don't believe that. You still with God. You still with Christianity. Just believe. I was going to go into something. Go ahead.
I want us to really examine 17. If anyone destroys Yahuwah's temple, Yahuwah will destroy him. For Yahuwah's temple is Kodesh, and you are that temple. How would you think that somebody else is destroying that temple? We are destroying that temple. If anyone destroys this temple, how you destroy it? Defiling it. You defile that temple by vessels, by altars, by pillars, because you are his temple originally. So we have defiled it. And he said he will destroy you. Say me. He will destroy that temple. So what do you want y'all to say on that? Reverence. He's telling you out of his mouth, hey, he's going to destroy you. Don't defile his temple.
Come. So we're talking about vessels. We're talking about vessels of silver and gold and vessels of wood and stone. So question. How do you become vessels of wood and stone? When did you become vessels of wood and stone? At birth. At birth. But, go to the next question. I got another question. Let me ask you this next question. It's going to tie in. Can a vessel of silver and gold be in another temple? How many people say yes? Can a vessel of silver and gold be in another temple?
Yes. How many people say no?
How many people say no?
How many people don't know?
Hallelujah.
We're going to get to the bottom of it. Bring it out.
So, we were already vessels of silver and gold. also before birth.
That's a game changer right there. That's a paradigm shift right there.
So we were already vessels of silver and gold before birth.
Hallelujah.
But we were born vessels of wood and
That's
stone.
right. That was a conversation.
So, y'all have anything I want to share on that?
Bring it out now.
Okay, go ahead.
So can you be a vessel in somebody else's temple? Or in another temple? Can vessels of silver and gold go to another temple? Can the holy vessels of silver and gold go to another temple?
How many say yes? How many say no? How many say I don't know?
Hallelujah. So, I want you to sail on this. Because last week we talked about the temples. We talked about the individuals. They do two things with the wood and trouble that they got. One, they drop it and they try to go present themselves without ever dealing with the trauma or the wood or the trouble. So they drop it off somewhere and then they try to go present themselves where all they really did is do what? Cope. But then you have the individuals that instead of using their wood for fuel, they use their wood to build their temple. And the two pillars they use to set up that temple is who I am and who I want to be. They use their two pillars of pride to allow this wood temple, this wood altar to be built up. They built their altar in their wood. Their altar in their temple with wood and shrub. And then, for the fuel, instead of using wood, they use their ox and goat.
Right.
They use their brothers and sisters.
Right.
And the fire that's produced from that, well, before the fire, the priests are the individuals that hurt them. They add more fuel to their fire, and the fire that produces their pride. Who I am and who I want to be. But then they go past the altar and they go into their sacred place. Because every Elohim had an altar in the temple. But how can the holy vessels get into a profane temple? Now we see that, which we're going to read. I think we have it in Daniel chapter 9, where Nebuchadnezzar did this exact same thing. Where he brought the vessels of Yahuwah into a wicked temple. But then something happened. We ain't going to get to that yet. Because we're trying to figure out how in the world did this happen. Now in the book of Jeremiah, there were some prophets going around at the time telling the people that the items or the vessels, the holy sacred vessels that were in the temple, prophet was saying they're going to be brought back from Babylon back into the temple. But Yahuwah came forth and said they lying. Not only are they not going to be brought back, but everything that's left in this temple is going to be taken to another temple. And those vessels was a representation of the people. How they were going to be taken into captivity or to Babylon. But how? How can this holy vessel become a vessel in this corrupt temple? So you got to understand there's individuals that will come here and have not dealt with their trauma. They have not dealt with their altar in their heart. So they have built their own altar. They built their own temple over in the struggle. They have their priests, they have their fire going, they have all that stuff going, but they need the sacred vessels in their holies of holies.
Listen.
How can I get the sacred vessels in my holies of holies? So what they do is they'll come to a place where the holies of holies is. They'll come to a place where a wuka is already happening. They'll try to find someone who is not fully dealt with their wuka. They'll try to find someone who is not fully dealt with themselves. And they'll point them out. And they'll say, I can use them as a vessel. I have my priest. I have my offering. I have my fire. I have my temple, I have my altar. I just need the holy things. And I want the holy things to be gold and silver. These things can't be wood. Because as long as I got that gold and silver, I'm good.
That's right.
Because my temple look just like theirs, but mine's just built with wood. So how do I get them over here? How do I get the golden vessels, which are you, into this person's temple? I allow them to be who they want to be over in my temple, and they can't be over here.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
for example, let me stand back real quick. So, for example, this person in Christianity, they were a pastor.
Go on now.
They were a prophet or a prophetess.
Better hear, better hear.
And over here, they only a doorkeeper.
Pride.
They only a doorkeeper because that stuff don't transfer over here. This ain't no college. Your credits don't transfer from one thing over here. That's religion. This culture. That's phony. This real. That's God. This Yahuwah. That's Jesus. This Yahushua. So over there, you probably was a prophet. You probably was a pastor. You probably was the head of all things. But over here, I'm just a doorkeeper. But they don't understand, even though they're a doorkeeper over here, they're still silver and gold. They are still vessels of honor over here, even though they're in a high position, they were vessels of dishonor over there. So because I come over here and I haven't truly dealt with myself or with my trauma, I went through a wuga, but I haven't fully went through it. Someone else can come in and spot that. I know that he's a doorkeeper, but you want to be a moray. You know what? He's probably a spoon, a golden spoon over here, but I'll let him be a golden bowl in my temple. So what I'll do is I'll connect with that person. I allow them to minister to me. I allow them to become my moray. Because what they're doing is they're really just setting shop up in my temple, but I'm feeding their flesh because this is what they want to be.
That's right.
The next thing you know, that golden spoon that stood at the door is now a golden bowl in somebody else's temple.
That's right. Simple of wood.
They went from functioning to dysfunction. They went from honor to dishonor. And therefore you have a bowl that's used as a toilet.
Feel that.
Nobody hit it. Nobody hit
You
it.
have a vessel of honor that's used for dishonor because they want to be validated. Because I want what I used to have back in Egypt. We was betrothed to Egypt. But he said he rolled that reproach away. But for some, the reproach hasn't been rolled away. So I still got a desire to prophesy. But Yahuwah haven't called me to prophesy. God did, but Yahuwah did not tell me that. But my insecurities is pushing me because I haven't been with my Ruka to prophesy. So what happens is this person comes in, sees that, peeps that, and say, oh, they can be a vessel in my temple. Because they are gold. They are silver. They are in the holies of holies. But if I could be like Nebuchadnezzar and take the gold and silver out of the holy place and put it in my temple, then I will be okay. So not only are they helping me, but I'm helping them because I'm feeding what they feel they are lacking. So what ends up happening is over here you was used as a bowl of gold and silver. You were in the holies of holies. Yeah, but I was only a doorkeeper. Dawid said, even if I'm a doorkeeper in the house of Yahuwah, so big. But because I want my ego fed, because my pillars haven't been torn down, who I am and who I want to be haven't been torn down, somebody sees that and they pull me into their temple, and now I was a golden bowl over here, but now I'm only being used as a spoon over here. And I think that's a higher position. Not understanding that being a doorkeeper at the house of Yahuwah, you receive the prophet's reward.
That's right.
You don't even got to call yourself a prophet to receive the reward because you are honor, you are gold, you are silver. But over here you want the title, but you don't get the honor. Because you went from honor to dishonor. You went from cereal bowl to toilet bowl. So that's how the gold gets into the temple. It's desecrated.
Yes, it is.
So we can never deal with this person. We can never deal with this new person that came in. Why? Because you have become their vessel. You have validated them. You have told them that they are good. So they go out and they commit sins every day, but they never repented. So you come and play the vessel in their life and just try to encourage them to get them through, but they're never dealing with their sin. That's all they have is a temple of wood, an altar of wood. Of course they're not going to deal with their stuff. It's not a temple of Yahuwah. But they need some gold, they need some silver in their temple to validate that they are okay. So as long as I can get the right person on my side, nobody can tell me I'm wrong. That's why, listen, gold and silver vessels that's in this place right now, you have to pay attention to who you validate. You got to pay attention to who you coddling, who you allowing to sing around you, because you are becoming a vessel inside somebody else's temple. And if you're a vessel in somebody else's temple, then you can't be a vessel in Yahuwah's temple, because the vessel can't be in two places at once. The vessel can only be moved by the master of the temple. So no matter if you desire to be back, you can't come back into the holies of holies until this temple is burned down. Because according to Romans 7:1, you cannot go and marry another husband until the first husband is dead. So until that temple is destroyed in that person's life, until you say, hey, listen, I can't coddle your stuff no more. I can't do what you asking me no more. Until that happens, until you destroy that temple, you can't come back into this temple. See, now the beautiful thing is, once you light them, because all it takes is the fire to burn the whole temple down, because it's made of wood. But the beautiful thing about it, you made of gold. So even if the fire burns down the whole temple, the gold will just be reserved. And it just refine itself. But why go through that? Why set yourself up to be in somebody else's temple when you're already in the holies of holies? Hallelujah.
and you're also actually deceived. Because you may be operating as a bowl, but you're not actually a bowl. You're just functioning as a bowl, but you're still a spoon. You're a man, but you might be functioning as a woman, but you actually a man.
Come on. Wow. Too much of that right now.
Wow.
Come on. So we are. Remember, you were vessels of gold and silver before you were born. Right? You can't change that. But if we cleanse ourselves off, if we do what we're supposed to do and operate in the temple of Yahuwah, there's a process called a refining.
Yes, yes.
Where he puts you to the fire, and then you might melt, but the value don't leave. And when you melt, he pulls you in a mold and reshape you. We have to be vessels ready for the master's use. Whatever he wants us to do. Hallelujah.
Let me land back on what Mo is bringing out, because I really want us to grasp that you being in a silver or gold vessel in another temple. And I want y'all to understand the play-by-play that he gave you, because there's already order setting up. There's already been set up. You got somebody where you need to go to. You got questions. You got a whole avenue. Yahuwah set up everything that needs to be done. But that person might come to you and say, "Man, I like how you. What's your interpretation of this lesson?"
Go on now. Wow.
Let me hear what you got to say.
Read each Boray's lesson.
I don't know about that. What you get out of that? Man, I don't know. I can't understand more. Tell me what that say. They gonna ask you to teach me. Teach me. Oh, all right. That's good. I like that. Oh, they start with one call. Then it comes Shabbat. They're gonna sit by you now.
Come on. Bring it on now.
They ain't gonna say nothing. They're just gonna go like this.
You gotta do it like that.
Oh, that's gonna tap your leg.
That confirmed what I told you already.
See, I told you they're gonna do that. They gathering you.
Talk to somebody. Yeah.
They see somebody. They see that pride still in you. So you go in there and you say, "Man, you right. Let me get off the board, right?" You have a coaching. You see a coaching, man. I like the way you speak in tongues. Man, you speak in the tongues. What's your interpretation? What is that? They don't speak in tongues a lot. They don't give a lot of interpretation in tongues over there. What you feel about that? Oh man, I used to be a prophetess back in Baptist such and such. That's when Yahuwah gave me that. That's when God gave me that gift. I went in the truth gift, but God gave me that gift back in Blue Run. Shady Grove.
Probably don't really exist.
I know how to prophesy. I was prophesying. I could do that. Really, you could prophesy. Yeah.
Come on now.
You know, Yahuwah told me something about you. But Rory don't let me speak on that. Don't let me speak, so let me talk to you. Let me tell you what I got.
Come on now.
Don't tell nobody.
Don't tell me.
That ain't right.
They feeding you. Oh, really? I knew that was in my life. These conversations is real. I don't like the order they set up like that. How you feel about that order? See, that's too much right there. That's too much. Yeah, I don't like it. Why is there nothing set up?
Yeah. Show me in the Bible.
No. These conversations is how they come to you. They try to boost your ego.
There you go, flattery.
They come flattering with a sweet word. They don't come with harsh words. They soft words in your ear. Oh man, you look like you need someone you need coping. Ain't nobody speaking to your life. Let me speak to you. You look like you hurt right now. Yahuwah told me to tell you something. Let me go talk to
Come
you.
on. Come on.
That's how you get taken. There's a whole order that's in this thing. But you didn't like that way. It didn't speak to you. You ain't had dealt with your Ruka. So that person come snatch you up. Let me uplift you up. They don't see you. See, you just invisible to them. I see you. I know your gifts, girl.
Come on.
That's what they say. Man, you should be a warrior already. Man, you need to be teaching. Man, your words are deep. They gonna boost you up. Because you really never knocked down that. You knocked down one pillar. Who I am. But who I desire to be. It's a little stump right there. Oh yeah, the big pillar about to grow out of that. So they take you. You gold and all. You came in the covenant, you rebirthed, you went through Ruka, you did all that. But who I desire to be still got a little seed in there. You know, Yahuwah leaves a little thorn in your side sometimes.
Right.
But you fed that thorn. You fell into that trap. So they take you and they put you in their vessel. Now they call you every day.
Right.
Now y'all go out to eat every day, every other day. Y'all sit together at Shabbats. Y'all sit there and y'all make faces with each other. Have private Bible studies.
That's right.
Oh, I see somebody else over there. Come here, girl. Let me come get you. That's what they do.
That's a prayer meeting.
Come on. Come on. Watch it. Watch it. It's already been done. It's not going to be over. Watch it. Because you going to be a vessel of gold, honor, and go dishonor real quick. Then when you get exposed, oh, I didn't know. They boost you up so much, you don't even want to tell them.
Right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
You don't want to reveal them.
Right.
Man, we close, we like friends. I don't want to hurt this person, so I'm not going to say nothing. It's real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is real life. Be careful.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Okay, so he explained how this happens. But there's the flip side. You can cut that short by holding them accountable.
Hallelujah.
Just that simple. By accountability, it'll cut all that short. And that's why we have to be a unit. Because if we're a unit, can't nobody come in here and divide us. Because that's all the serpent try to do is beguile us to divide us.
Right.
But it's easy to cut him short. Just hold them accountable. When you hold them accountable, they gonna know I can go to Ema, Akoti, Ak, whomever in that way.
I know that's right.
It's about accountability.
That's right.
That one word will cut all that
Right.
unnecessary foolishness out.
Hallelujah.
You always put that on me, man. Watch what people say. Hey, Maury. Oh, I ain't even call you Maury.
That's good. That's a good one.
Queen Mother, I ain't even Queen Mother. How you doing?
That's a good one.
Then you see them come up to Aurora. Kalaya, how you doing, Kalaya?
Come on now.
They want to speak the role. This is witchcraft.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
They want to speak the switching of the roles. That's why anybody come to me and say, Maury, I said, I'll tell my wife, hey, shut it down.
Right.
Shut it down. You gotta watch them seeds they plant.
That's right. Those are seeds.
Watch them seeds they plant. Watch the words that are coming out of their mouth. All right?
Okay.
Go.
All right. So, you start the cycle all over again. You fall into that, like you say, you leave a little stump. Next thing you know, that pillow back up. Because when that pillow go back up, who I desire to be, then the next pillow gonna go back up.
That's right.
Because now I am who I desire to be, right? So now the temple back up, right? Now you covered yourself. Now you added wood back. Now your wood is now back covering your vessel. You done went all the way back to the beginning. You done reversed the whole cycle. Now you gotta do it all over again. We have to get that together. Because the reality is, it all goes back to self. When individuals come and speak to you like this, they're speaking to self. But you're supposed to do what? To self.
Kill it daily.
You're supposed to deny self. You're supposed to kill self. But they want to resurrect self. They want self to be resurrected. That's how you know what's going on, when you feel yourself rising up.
That's right.
Listen to me.
That's right.
You feel yourself rising up, and you've been having this encounter for a minute, and you feel yourself rising up. I'm not saying people can't say nothing nice to you. I'm not saying they can't thank Yahuwah for bringing you in their life. That's not what we're saying. We saying that there's a trigger. They can see you.
Right.
It's a trigger.
Right.
They know exactly who you are. But at that moment, you have an opportunity to hold them accountable. At that moment, you have an opportunity to be a vessel like the Ark of the Covenant. What happens when they took the Ark of the Covenant into the temple of Dagon?
Oh, he cut his hands off. Knocked his
So what happens when they take you into the temple? Destroy. Hold accountable. Destroy. That's how we have to be. Kodesh. Hallelujah.
So real quick, how did we become vessels of wood? How do we become how do we go from wood to gold? Anybody? Because y'all said we were vessels of wood when we came out, right? How do we go from wood to gold? Change the building material, what? Visit the chat. These are quick answers. That dude is Yahushua.
We have to be refined.
We have to be refined. So, we were all born gold. Go ahead. Deliverance.
Getting rid of, basically denying yourself.
God.
Getting rid of all your trauma.
God. But how did you go from gold to wood? Through your trauma. So every piece of trauma you went through is like a wood, slab of wood will cover your gold bowl. Cover. And Hasatan will push you through trauma till all your gold is covered. Because you came out as gold. We know you was formed in sin and shaped in iniquity. But however, when you first came out, no sin was in you. I mean, no, you didn't sin. A newborn baby don't sin when they come out. There's pure gold, but based off the trauma that they go through. Now, many babies come out with trauma because the mother and father reject them while they're in the womb. One way a rejection is, what is it, Coachy? Gender reveal.
That's right, that's terrible.
Now that was a revelation to me. Gender reveal can birth rejection into a child.
That's right.
Because if the father is wanting a son, and then it's revealed it's the girl, first thing that,
That's right.
rejection. Mama wanted a boy, it's a girl. Rejection. First slab of wood is formed over. They not even here, you've already formed wood over them. So some come out half wood, half gold. Some come out all gold, but as time go on, wood is built around them. Why? So he can hide their value. So that all you would think of yourself is wood. All you would think of yourself, that's why it's hard to convince our people you're the people of the book.
Right? Right?
It's hard to convince our people. Do you not know you are the Hebrews? You are the ones that you was chosen, and you can't convince those individuals because all they see themselves is wood. They don't understand the gold, the treasure. 2 Corinthians 4 talk about that's hidden in these earthen vessels. So what happens is when you go through a ruka, what Akir Yahoo stated, once you go through a ruka, what happens is wood start coming off. You start stripping off wood. And then your gold looks so beautiful. It looks so refined. Because it's been buried for a reason. While Hasatana used the wood to cover your gold, Yahuwah used it to protect it and to preserve it.
Hallelujah.
It's just like gold that's found in the earth. It's as pure because it hasn't been touched by man's hands. That's why you don't look like what you've been through.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
If some people were to stand up and give their testimony, you'll probably be shocked because it don't look like they went through that. It's because all you see now is the gold. You don't see the wood. But if you don't properly go through a ruka, you will try to come into the holies of holies with half gold, half wood. You'll try to go through to the holies of holies with gold, put a little piece of wood. You have to be Kodesh vessels. So, real quick, and I'm gonna pass it over. It don't matter how beautiful the vessel is. If it got a stain on it, it can lose its value. My wife is a good cook. I know this because she cooked for me. Some of y'all, you don't even eat everything. Don't worry about what I eat. I said she's a good cook. Hallelujah. So if I invited you all over my house to eat my wife's food, and y'all hungry, y'all starving, when I get ready to serve you this food, there's a big dookie stain on the plate. Big brown. It's not literally dookie, but it's brown. You might think it's booty.
All the stains there could be.
No matter how good the food is, that stain stain will cause you to lose your appetite. She probably can cook. She probably can throw down. But that stain, no matter if that's the best china man can find, the most expensive china, that one stain will cause you to lose your appetite. As vessels of Yahuwah, we are serving food on our plates, which is the word of Yahuwah. That's why the Bible calls us servants. We're here to serve the world. We're here to serve them food, which is the what? The word. But no matter how good that word is, if we got spots and blemishes on our vessels, it can cause somebody to lose their spiritual appetite. It can cause somebody not to want the food that we're offering. No matter how good the food is, it's the spots on our vessels that can cause people to lose their spiritual appetite and not want to eat at the table of Yahuwah because there's spots and blemishes on the golden vessels. So, 2 hand claps. So, no more. We need no more. Make sure your plate is clean. Make sure your bowl is clean. Make sure your vessel is clean. Because you can't be out here serving this good food of Yahuwah to a starving world with spots on your plate. Because the reason why some people are starving is because some of us has caused some people to lose their appetite. It's all right, they're going to 2, same 2. Hey, y'all going to be blessed, don't worry. Understand what we're doing. Vessels of honor. You can be a vessel of honor, but do you have spots and blemishes? Now you can be washed with the word, but if you choose to walk around with your spots and your blemishes, just know you're going to cause someone to lose their appetite. And that's how the individuals come in here and spot who they can pull into the temple based off the stains on the vessels.
Oh, that's good.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. We told it already. But we just talking about, and we were formed. You were already formed. Jeremiah 1:5. You formed in his womb, but you were shaped in iniquity. Psalms 51:5. Difference between formed and shaped. Anybody know the difference between formed and shaped?
Form is when it's originated, when it's formed, when it's made, established. Made.
Formed is when it didn't exist and it was like created, right? And then shaped is already like a solid form, and it was shaped.
Well, that's without form.
Without, yeah.
Yeah, without form. We want to know what's the difference between formed and shaped.
Form is a mold. So shape can be created. Shape can be duplicated.
Okay, one more.
Give it to him.
One more. Go ahead.
With that shape can be when that person is coming in your ear. Hey man, you should, hey Moray, that it's shaping you from out of your original, what you was formed into. Now you're being shaped, and that little piece of plywood done got hit on that altar, and it done covered up a piece of that silver and that gold.
God, so that's where I'm going. The difference between formed and shaped is formed, and I'm just getting this little nerdy, which formed is 3-dimensional. Shaped is 2-dimensional.
Say that again.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's like when I studied a metal working technique called repoussé. And you take a sheet of metal, and it's 3-dimensional because you can hold it in your hand. but you want to form something out of it. So you put it in tar and you heat it up and you put it in there, and then you hammer and you shape the design into it, and then it comes out. But it's a form. It's not really what it was originally.
And we know, he gonna get deep into it, but we know we are actually 3, 4, and 5 dimensional beings because we are on here. But we were formed in our mother's womb and shaped in iniquity, but that shaping is the trauma. We were shaped in that. And we was talking about, some of us were born gold, some of us were born half wood, half gold, some of us were born all wood. We were shaped in that thing. But being shaped in that thing hides what? It hides our true form. And that's what he was bringing out. You know what he was bringing out? That now a lot of us see our true form. We don't see wood. We don't see how we were shaped. Because we know that how we were shaped was for a reason. We know we had to be shaped a certain way so that we could come out in our true form. Go to the next one. Real quick.
Look at me. Now that you've been formed differently, because of the Veruca, you see your true form, come? That's why you can't wear the same clothes you used to wear.
Hallelujah. Go on now.
Come on. Don't feel comfortable.
Because you've been formed differently. You've been shaped differently.
Come on.
Coaties.
Go on.
Come on.
Come
Go
on.
on. Woo. Go on.
Can't show this form off. You can't show this shape off.
Yeah.
Because this form and shape was given to only 2 people. Yahuwah and Yoish. Oh, 6 hands. Okay, hallelujah. Your form is only to be given to 2 people. I know you got excited about this form because now I'm gold. Now I'm talking in the natural sense. But now that you've been shaped and formed different, that's why you don't think like you used to think, because you're not formed in that way no more. You don't go to places you used to go because you're not formed in that thing. Your true form has been shown. A circle can't fit in a square.
Don't fit. That's right.
You a circle out here trying to fit in squares. You've been formed differently. Your true form has been shown. That wood made you a square. But once we broke that wood down, you realize you was a circle underneath. Oh, y'all ain't hear me? That's why they don't recognize you no more, because you're not the same shape and form when they first see you. So stop getting mad at people because they don't accept you.
All right.
You're going back to who you was before you got here. They ain't gonna recognize you. And as a matter of fact, as Malak Hero always said, you got to go and kill that man. Get a new identity to come back and preach to them, because they won't be able to receive it from that old man. Say your family and friends ain't gonna like you. They ain't gonna understand you. Because you looking like a circle trying to fit in a square. Stop trying to fit in where you aren't supposed to be.
Right. Well, that's true.
Hallelujah. You got to become complete strangers to your mitzvah, to your family, to your relatives. Complete strangers. Complete strangers. Because they listen to strangers before they listen to you. So, what's the next one? Up to see your true form. So when you get rid of all those things, they see your true form. They need that because you got that true form, because you got that rich word in your vessel, because you got all these things going. They see your true form and they need your true form to validate them. That's why they want you in their temples. This is why they want us in their temples. Because you can't tell me nothing. I got vessels of gold and silver in my temple. You can't tell me nothing. That's their validation. So-and-so agreed with me. And he a leader. So-and-so agreed with me. And she a coach. She worship all the time. She know what's going on. She told me this. They hang on to you. They need that validation. So they say whatever they gotta say to resurrect self.
Right.
Go to the next one. Oh, they're not even going to check.
Let us know when y'all ready, y'all. I got it right fast. We gonna hold it.
Another like an example of today, I could say is me and Moore was just saying that sometimes in praise and worship, that's what some people do. Oh, if she go, I'ma go. If she don't go, I'm not going.
Oh, come on now.
If she don't dance like this, I'm not gonna dance like
Come
that.
on now.
So that's another way that people can use it like that.
Wow.
God, I'm trying to tell y'all, this is not something that's coming down the future or nothing. This is here now. This is what the warning is about. Your true form is being shown. Our true form. It starts with me. It starts, our true form is being shown.
Yeah.
Yahuwah is seeing it. He been seeing it. So again, like I said, your male go to your more.
That's right.
He sees your true form. Yahuwah been seeing you. Nobody's getting away. No one's getting away.
Right.
Vessels of dishonor, your true form is being seen. Vessels of honor, your true form has been seen.
Right.
So we gotta realize that there's no one hiding. There's no secrets. Basically, Yahuwah took you out, formed you in iniquity. Hey, you got gold on you, but you covered in wood, brought you to assembly, and got you out now. You gotta deal with the whole body to get that wood on. He put you in a body so that body be able to expose you. There's nothing hiding. This is a grand design. You gotta be attached to somebody. You gotta be attached to some kind of assembly.
Come on.
You gotta be yoked.
Gotta be yoked up.
Cause Yahuwah's going, hey, let me go chisel out real quick. Oh, they got some plated gold on them. They got that really wood inside.
Come on.
No, you said that fool's gold. They got that fool's gold on. They worshiping, they singing. They got a good dance. They can sing, they can dance, they can prophesy, speak in tongues. They got a good word. In that dark, they got about 4 or 5 of us in there on the call. Another thing, I'm gonna get on to that. Ish, check your issues.
Hallelujah.
Ish, check your issues. There can be a vessel of honor, a vessel of dishonor in the same household. It's one form. When y'all became married, y'all became one what? One flesh. One lump. There's 2 vessels. Check that. Issues. Correct your husband in the right order.
Right.
Understand that. We live in one household.
Right.
We live under one roof, one temple, one altar. All that is held accountable.
Right.
We watch the conversations we have every day. And what you say? What you say? All right. All right.
be held accountable.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So I'm gonna show you what that look like.
Hallelujah.
I'm gonna show you what that look like. So right here in this room, we have people up here as far as advancing, and we have people down here. We have people up here, and we have people down here. And both vessels have been here for 2-3 years, right? Just give an example. But you know what? This individual is still here because they got somebody up here as a vessel in their temple.
There you go. Come on. Write that down.
Because it's validating you still being around. I can still be around because this person speaks to me. This person ministers to me. This person functions in my temple. I can still be around. They validate why I'm here. That's why you have that. So we may be like, well, you know, if people don't want to listen to More in this ABC, why are they still around for? Because they found a More. They found a vessel for their temple. That's why they still here. They want to carry you. They want you in their temples and made you curse yourself. Remember, can't nobody curse Israel but Israel. Israel, the only people that can curse Israel.
Right.
So, made you curse yourself and carried you away. Joel chapter 3, 4-6. What are you to me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the regions of Philistia? Are you paying me back for something? If you are paying me back, I will return your payment on your own head swiftly and expediently.
Right.
Pay attention. For you have taken my silver and my gold and have carried my rich treasures into your temples. You have sold the people of Yehuda and Jerusalem to the Greeks in order to remove them forth from their borders. Now we talking about this spot. We talking about different levels, right? We talking about the temples of God, right? And we also talking about the temples of those that hadn't dealt with trauma, right? 5 again, for you have, I'm starting at 5 again, read it again. For you have taken my silver, my gold, and have carried my rich treasures into your temples. So we were silver and gold, and we were in the temples of our oppressors. They used us as vessels in their temples. Guess what? Because they knew who we were, and we didn't know who we was, we still validated them. Y'all know we validate every group of people or anybody that we associate with. Right? Something as simple as a high school basketball team. One black player validate the whole school. They might be pretty good because they got him on the team. But we have to understand, Ms. Parker, we have to understand that that's what happened. They carried us away. They put us in their temples. And when they put us in their temples, we start operating, we start functioning. So now that we came into the truth and we know what's going on this side, we can't bring that stuff. And I know we've been attached to it for so long, but we can't bring that stuff over here. We can't bring that over here.
Come on.
We have been operating, we have been functioning for them for so many years. Y'all know what was that when we went through the fast, rebirth fast? What did Maury Malachi call rebirth?
A dragnet.
It's a dragnet. So we can't come in here with the expectation of I'm going to transfer, I'm going to do all these things over here. This is a dragnet. The only thing you're gonna be done over here is you're gonna be cut open and gutted out.
Come on now. Hallelujah.
Deep gut.
Hallelujah.
Because guess what? That's the way to salvation.
Hallelujah. Yes, sir. Yes.
That's the way to salvation.
Yes.
That's the only way you can get into the temple.
Hold on, yeah.
So being in these temples, being married to these Elohim, we had a lot of partners, y'all. Yahuwah called us a whore.
Yes, he did.
He said we were adulterers.
That's right. That's right.
I want y'all to think about that. Because every relationship that you've been in, you've been intimate.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Every relationship you've been intimate. So we got all that stuff. We got all that. And I know we've been talking about the altars and we've been talking about cleaning ourselves and, the vessels and cleaning the wood off. We've been talking about all this stuff for the last 3 weeks. But y'all, we got to dig deep. Because now we at a point, we at a level to where this ain't just trauma and things that you just know you got going on. We in a season where you could go through a ruka and you got to find out what's wrong. You got to find out what you got to dig for. You got to find out what you need to be delivered from. But if you have not went through the first deliverance, you cannot mess with that layer yet.
That's right. That's deep. That's dark.
You can't even touch that layer because you got a whole nother layer blocking it. We're talking about a complete mind shift. We're talking about a complete paradigm change. We're talking about a modern people becoming an ancient people for real. Because we do know we are ancient people, right? We becoming an ancient people for real. So we got to dig deep. Everything that we got. We got to get rid of. Anybody seen the schizophrenia revelation?
Yes.
Dig deep. Only to do what? To find your true. And then you got to do what? Kill. So y'all know we go in layers, right? It's layers. Only to find that true self and then kill it. Y'all follow? Everybody understand? We want everybody to get this. We want everybody to get this. We got to get this. We got to be intentional in how we grow. We got to be intentional in this walk. There's no reason, and I don't want to get off subject, there's no reason Moray Kowal should ask a question about a lesson and nobody have an answer. You hadn't watched the lesson. Here's the thing. I forgot who brought it up. We pay a lot of money to go to school.
Yes, we do.
To gain knowledge of a possession that's in our hearts. I mean, we do it. If we really want to do it, we want to be a doctor, we're going to study. Day in, day out. Whatever is required. Whatever is required, we're going to do it. We're in this walk. You want to advance? You want to cry out? Be quiet. Do. Be.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Be.
Hallelujah.
Study. Be intentional. Pray. Meditate. Do what's required of you to get where you need to get over here. If that's what's in your altar. Heart. If it's here, do what's required. Your heart is where your treasure is. We problem solve to get what we want. We have to problem solve over here. There's a lot of things, I'm sorry, there's a lot of things, a lot of places where we as a tribe should be. Let me explain something to you. This is what I mean by complete paradigm shift. Because a lot of us are still holding on to self. Don't you know that if everybody had the same desire that you had to go to that car lot and buy that car, or the same desire that you had to go to school, that same drive for the land? Don't get quiet on me.
Hallelujah.
Why am I saying this? Is that your life now? Is that your life now? Are you converted? Or are you still denying?
Somebody on the spot.
Are you converted? Is this a way of life for you? Or do you have one foot over here, one foot over here? Because if you have voted with your feet over here, we'd already have a building. We'd already have everything we need. Everything we need. We Elohims. There's no reason why I can see every other nationality do it. There's no reason why I see every other nationality and group of people do it, and we still can't do it as Elohims. Where is our heart? I got a life. You got a mishpah. Move in the same house. You ready? I'm talking about mindset. Share rent. You ready for that? Get uncomfortable. You can do whatever you want to do. Everybody can accomplish what they want to accomplish. Are we ready for that? A lot of people don't like what I'm saying right now. But we're trying to go somewhere. It's good that we're storing up and we're doing all these things. But it's not about just that. We got to have a complete mind shift. We have a schedule to take to the storage. We should be telling you to stop bringing stuff.
That's right.
Mindset. Still got me in you. I'm just giving it to you the way it's given to me right now. Still got me, because you're all trying to do something. It's a direction that we got to go in. It's something we got to do. Be honest with yourself. If you're not ready for it, okay. But be honest. Don't come in here pretending. Get an understanding of what's going on. Get an understanding of culture. Get an understanding of these things. We got places to go. We ain't got time to be in somebody else's temple. Told that y'all. Because that's why he's bringing this up. That's the reason why we haven't advanced the way we should. Because we still in somebody else's temple.
Yep.
Hear what I'm saying? Some of our homes is a temple. Temple of God.
Right. Hallelujah.
God blessed you with that temple. Some of us have temples that we go home to. Some of us have temples that we drive home in. God blessed me with that. Complete paradigm mind shift is possible. Because we can give a word, Yahuwah can give us a word, and we can talk all day. It can be as deep as you wanted to have it. But you ain't going to be able to partake in none of it. You're not going to be able to see none of it manifest. You're not going to see none of it manifest. Because you're still going to be here in Babylon. Still attached to Babylon. Divorce. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't know how messy a divorce can be. Let's be real. A divorce can be messy. There can be a lot of attachment, a lot of reasons, a lot of justifications to why it just can't happen like that. I just can't pick up and leave like that. I get it. I understand, but be intentional in your planning. Be intentional in your next steps. I'm not telling nobody to just cut off, but be intentional in your planning. Put your seeds where they need to go. Put your efforts where they need to go. It needs to be your hoard. The word says, seek ye first the kingdom. What does it mean to seek? When you was in the world and you was seeking that man or that woman, you wasn't just staying at the house.
You was out in the bushes.
What does it mean to seek? Seek ye first the kingdom. So we have to be intentional in what we're doing. We have to understand where we're trying to go. Do we understand? Do we all know the vision of our moray? Do we all know the vision of the Chiefs? Do we know this? We building a nation. How are we going to build a nation if we can't build a community? Or a tribe? This is different because we hadn't had to build a nation in years. We hadn't had to build a nation in over 1,000 years. We don't even know what that looks like. So we got to depend on Yahuwah to show us the way. We got to trust. We got to trust before he even give us a word. We got to be completely sold out. Because if you're not fully converted, when everything hit the fan, you're going to deny us 3 times.
Yeah. Sell us out.
You're going to deny us. We read the scripture and we say mother shall be against father and daughter against mother and all this, and we thinking about our family, our relatives. No. That's some of us. Because the whole time you had one foot over here and one foot over here. We got the divorce. And y'all, I don't know why but I do know. He just dropped it on me. He just dropped it on me because we in a time where we have to be intentional and we have to be serious. We bringing out being vessels in someone else's temple. We ain't got time for that. Right. This is just a witness. This is just showing us the things that we got to get rid of. So just like we said, this deliverance, we got to go find what we need to be delivered from. So we need to start looking. Don't wait for somebody to tell you. We got to start looking. Let's start looking now. What in me can't go over there? What in me can't remain here? Oh, this thing got higher. Hallelujah. Temperature to start going up. But hallelujah. We have a Yahuwah that's told. We have a provider. We have a healer. We have a redeemer. And that's where we got to be. Yahuwah's giving these messages because there's a posture that we have to remain in. We have to know to get rid of these things and come out from among these things. And we have to remain in this posture. This is new, and it may be strange, but the scripture says it's going to be a strange salvation. It's going to be a strange salvation. Hallelujah. So let's be mindful, Ms. Parker. Be intentional in everything that we're doing. Next slide. Daniel chapter 5, 1 through 4. King Belshazzar made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords and drank wine in front of the 1,000. Belshazzar, when he tasted the wine, commanded that the what? The vessels of gold and silver, gold and of silver that Nebuchadnezzar his father had taken out of the temple in Jerusalem be brought. So this king is summoning for these vessels. Be brought that the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines, their whole community, their whole nation, brought them out, might drink from them. That's what we just bring it out. They've been drinking from us for years.
Shut up and dribble.
That's it. They've been drinking from us for years. Shut up and dribble. That's right. Create something or invent something and take the credit for it. They've been drinking for years. Then they brought in the golden vessels that had been taken out of the temple, the house of Elul in Jerusalem, and the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines drank from them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. I'm gonna let them.
All right. Now we know the story behind this though. Nebuchadnezzar, his father, remember he witnessed the 3 boys getting burned in the fire. What decree did he make after he saw that? He made a decree in the land. He said, if you do not worship Daniel's the Lord, you will be killed. So he took these vessels of honor and he kept them honorable though, because he served Yahuwah. But what happened when his son, boy, that must have been some good wine. Because he said when he drunk this wine, man, go, you know how your mama say, go get the good china. So he was like, man, go get them vessels that my father got. But little did he know what type of vessels they were. And he messed up when he got to 4. Let's read that. They drank wine and praised gods of gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. So now he done took the honorable and dedicated to the distant. Y'all know Yahuwah ain't playing that. Because we read about that, just Joel 3. Recompense. We're going to read verse 5. Immediately after this, the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall and of the king's palace opposite of the lampstand. And the king saw the hand as it wrote. Then the king's color changed, and his thoughts alarmed him. His limbs gave way, and his knees knocked together. Now we see when he dedicated these vessels to these gods, Yahuwah didn't play that. He caused the hand to come out. You want me to keep reading? So, when that hand came out, we know what happened. He sent his, what they call his people, I want to say magicians, sorcerers. He went and got his sorcerers because he couldn't read the writing on the wall. They couldn't read it. He feared, so they called Daniel. Daniel came and prophesied, and he told him, King, tonight is your night, brother. That same night, what happened? The Medes, I think it was the Medes, right? Or the Persians, it was one of the two. They snuck in and killed him because he messed with the vessels of Yahuwah. Now, them vessels was fine prior to, because Yahuwah was getting reverence. As soon as he dedicated those vessels to those gods of gold and silver, Yahuwah said, you done done enough. That's going to cost you your life. Do the nations know the silver and gold that they have in America is going to cost them their life? He's coming to get his gold and silver, and the writing is on the wall. Look outside. Look around the world. It's chaotic. And here is shalom. How good does it feel to know the prophecy of an Lord that loves his people and dedicated, and he is true to his word? So hallelujah, I just wanted to bring that out. I'm going to bring something out more. All right, let's go to the next slide, unless y'all want to bring something out on that. All right.
So that's told, you know, with the nations, they did that. Again, everything starts with Israel first.
That's right, yeah.
Don't let nobody pour no wine in you. I want you to hear that. Don't let nobody stain you with some wine. You know that wine stain is hard to get out. We in the white. I don't think he come out, do we? He don't come out, man. That communion juice. Yahuwah had to destroy him. What's the king? What's his name? No. Belazar. I'm saying that? Good. All right. I'm going to call it. Don't let that Ruach of Belazar come in. That's very deep. You gotta look at that. That's very real. That's a woe unto us. When somebody came in here and snatched somebody up and poured that good old wine in them, and then dedicated. You know, a lot of people got curses on their life because, you know, your fathers or your forefathers dedicated something. You know, you come out, you're gold and all that, but hey, I dedicate my daughter to this Elohim. They pour wine. You sold my people for what? As a harlot. You sold my people for like a harlot. They out there just getting all different kind of gods in them. We got to examine that. What is that wine that's getting poured in? Just check that. Check that. It ain't well to the juice. It's some good wine. Check that. So again, they get dedicated, they praise, they had what? Gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone. They had everything. They could dedicate you to anything and everything. They had everything. All that stuff is for an altar. All that stuff is for a temple. All that stuff is for the holy place. They had everything. They dedicated you a whole temple. Made you a whole temple. So I want y'all to say loud on that.
All right, 1 Samuel, chapter 5. 1 Samuel, chapter 5. We're going to go verses 1 through 7. We did say hallelujah. All right, we almost done. Come on, let's get to it. We're going to close this thing out. Hallelujah. There's something you got to get. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. When the Philistines captured the ark of Yahuwah, they brought it from Ebenezer to Asher. Then the Philistines took the ark of Yahuwah and brought it into the house of Dagon and set it up beside Dagon. And when the people of Ashdod rose early the next day, behold, Dagon had fallen face downward on the ground before the ark of Yahuwah. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess. So they took Dagon and they put him back in his place because he couldn't do it himself. But when they rose early on the next morning, behold, Dagon had fallen on his face downward on the ground before Yahuwah, before the ark of Yahuwah, and the head of Dagon and both his hands were laying cut off on the threshold. only the trunk of Dagon was left to him. This is why the priest of Dagon and all who enter the house of Dagon do not tread on the threshold of Dagon and Ashdod to this day. The hand of Yahuwah was heavy against the people of Ashdod, and he terrified and afflicted them with tumors, both Ashdod and its territory. And when the men of Ashdod saw how things were, they said, the ark of Yahuwah of Israel must not remain with us, for his hand is hard against us and against Dagon, our Elohim.
So we brought this out earlier as an example. We're going to focus on this last part because this is about vessels being in other people's temple and holding them accountable.
Right.
And when the men of Ashdod saw things were, they said, the ark of the Lord of Israel must not remain with us, for his hand is hard against us and against Dagon, our Lord. I ain't gonna deal with ark and I ain't gonna deal with a co-team because they're gonna talk about my issues. They're gonna talk about what I need to hear, but I only want to hear what I want to hear, so I ain't gonna build a relationship with them. They should say that about everybody in this room. Everybody. Because we don't want to be vessels in their temple. So this is holding them accountable. Why? Because judgment. The ark represented judgment. As a vessel of Yahuwah, you represent judgment. You are a witness. You should remain a witness. Hallelujah.
Last slide.
Yeah, this is the last slide. So this is going into the story of John the Baptist. When John the Baptist was considered, when Mashiach said John the Baptist was the greatest prophet, there's no greater prophet than he. Right? So I'm just going to read it for you and then go into it. Truly I say to you, among these born of women, there has arisen no greater than John the Baptist. Yet the one who is the least in the kingdom of the Shamayim is greater than he. Yet the one who is least in the kingdom of the Shamayim is greater than he. He's talking about the greatest prophet ever. That's what he's talking about. He said the one of the least is greater than he.
Think about now that the greatest man ever, who never did a sign or a wonder,
All right.
never called fire down from the Shemayim, never raised nobody from the dead. But Yahushua said, there's not a man born, a woman that's going to be greater than John the Baptist. Now I want you to say all of that because Yahushua, according to history, only really witnessed about 6 months of John the Baptist's ministry. And in 6 months, he had that impression on Yahushua. 6 months. Some folks been following Yahushua 6 years and they ain't got that impression. There'll be no man greater. So what did John do? He obeyed. He functioned. He just preached, repent, for the kingdom of Yah is at hand. And just by him functioning in that order, not calling fire down, not raising nobody from the dead, not healing nobody in leprosy, but preaching the Besorah, Yahushua made that statement about him. But he said, only those that are least in the kingdom will be greater than him.
So that means a spoon is greater than John the Baptist.
The least vessel.
The least. We got to be able to.
Come on. Yeah.
See this, yeah.
We got to be able to see this, y'all. We talking about least. But don't we know least in the kingdom is just way more than anything else that we could ever have. Just least. We know that. Some of us quick to say, man, if I can make it to the kingdom, if I can just sweep floors. If I can just mop the floor in the kingdom, I'll be happy. Right? If I can just do this in the kingdom, and he ain't signed up on the cleaning team. But if I can just mop the floor in the kingdom, I'll be happy.
Y'all ain't hear that.
Now they gonna perceive that this where you at.
Now you gotta say that again.
No, we just got to focus on being, y'all. We can't vain babble. We got to be intentional. We got to get going. And we got to understand that we can't be focused on what vessel is what. And just know that you are important and you are vital to the kingdom. You are very vital. Very vital. Doesn't matter what you play, you're very vital. Everyone need everyone. Every body part need the next body part. As HRT, we kneecaps. We okay with that, right? Who want to be the kneecaps in HRT?
Hallelujah.
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 We the kneecaps to the body. We the kneecaps. Yahuwah gave us the place of support, of servitude. We ain't the head. We're not no arm, we're not an eye, we are the kneecaps. See, when you play this position of lowliness, there's no way to get in pride. You ever seen a shoe sign or a shoe person that shines shoes ever talk crazy to the person whose shoes he's shining? You can't. Because I'm sitting here shining your shoes. I could call you stupid, ignorant, loser here, but you're shining my shoes. I'm sitting at a high place. You're sitting low. See, by being the kneecaps, you stay at a low place. But when we gonna go high, when your whole elevators. Oh, yeah. And y'all, you do that on your time, whenever you are ready, whenever you see fit. But one thing that Malak girl was saying, you got to understand you are a vessel in the holies of holies.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Y'all get that?
Hallelujah.
No, they don't get that.
Hallelujah.
It's not by chance you made it to the holies of holies.
Hallelujah.
We're not talking about the holy place. We're not talking about the altar no more. We're talking about the most sacred place. You're a vessel there. But because of the lack of validation, you want to go be a bowl somewhere else.
Ain't good.
You want a title or a position when it's not about that. It's about what temple you're in. It's about what temple you are in. Because the least of those vessels are going to be greater than John the Baptist. The least of those vessels are the only thing that Yahushua sees fit to be more honorable than John the Baptist. But your pride won't allow you to be low. Your pride feel like I got to be called on. I got to be this. So that's why them people come and pick you out of here and they bring you in. Oh, just think about it. See, we want to be honest with ourselves. Some of us in here right now. You want me to say this, y'all? Some of us in here right now used to be vessels in other people's temples. Now, that probably wasn't your purpose. You didn't know. I'm going to give you that benefit of the doubt. But you became vessels in other people's temple, and those people ain't even here no more.
That's right.
But some people that's here, that's, you know, you always showed me this. Some people that's here, part of us are still vessels in other people's temple that's no longer here.
Yep.
Yep.
And that's why they can't function here. Because they're still tied to another temple. And one vessel can't sit in two temples at the same time. Because you can't come over back to this temple till that temple is destroyed. So be mindful of what you do. Well, I just want to stay in contact with them because I don't want them to feel bad. No, they want the benefits of the tribe without the accountability.
Right.
And you're giving them the benefits of it. Stop being a vessel in others people's temple. Oh, some people don't like this, y'all. You reading somebody mail, y'all. Understand it's a reason why you're staying in someone else's temple. And you know they don't like your tribe.
Come on now.
You know they don't like your moray.
Shame on you.
You know they don't like some of your brothers and sisters, but you still stay connected to it. We see where the loyalty is.
Come on. Who mail you read?
I don't know.
Let me open.
That's a federal offense.
Oh, it's gonna open.
Oh yeah.
Because he's coming in this house, it's gonna open. But watch what vessel you are. Not only what vessel you are, but whose temple you are inside of. Because you could be a temple of gold, but still inside of a wooden temple. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I ain't gonna say that. I don't want y'all to not leave here and really understand that, grasp that what he's saying. A lot of us, you know, you'll go spiritual with it, or someone you will go on left with it, but I want you to realize again, this is happening right now. You read that banner, it says, you read the banner, it says what? Prepare your heart, you are entering the what? Do you really perceive that? Ask yourself, you are entering the holies of holies. Vessels everywhere are entering the holies of holies. If someone can take you out, you got the power now. Someone can take you out. You in the holies of holies and don't even understand that you could be sweeping the floor, picking up chairs, being the least. I don't want to call it least. Anything least in the holies of holies is great. But we don't perceive that in here. You think God told you gotta wait till you get to the kingdom for you to be in the holies of holies.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did say that.
I want you to get your mind right.
Yes, you did.
Because you can't perceive that right here. Yahushua said, you are my temple. You're in the holies of holies. I gathered all this stuff, and now y'all right here, but hey, vessels don't want to do the work in the holies of holies. But you said you're going to do it when the kingdom comes.
The kingdom is upon us.
You don't see the kingdom.
It's within.
You already been taken out of the holies of holies. Your physical body's here, but your heart, your altar, has been erected in someone else's temple.
Yeah.
You have to see these things. You got a whole acquisition team, and we only got 7 sales. I'm involved in that too. But this is planning in the holies of holies vessels. You don't perceive this. Not understanding that if you do the work in the holies of holies, I don't care what your job or what your title might give you, you receive a prophet's reward. Y'all don't get that. We don't get that. What does a prophet reward look like? You could be, man, I hope my son just sweeps the floor. And he gonna receive the prophet reward. He spoke of the other demon in here functioning in the holies of holies.
Hallelujah.
And they're going to receive the prophet's reward.
Hallelujah.
Figure out where your altar went, you as a vessel went, what temple you're at. You really got to see that, because you read that, you go with the rod, I hear people wailing, I hear people praying, I hear people doing all that. But when you come, as soon as it's time to come in here, all that stop.
Yep.
You stop functioning now. You in another temple. This is not make-believe. The kingdom is here now. But we don't perceive that. God told us something different.
You're right. You told it.
God is good. Come on. Y'all got to understand this.